Hey there, marvelous comedy fans, welcome back to the channel. Hollywood's habit of digging up cult classic movies and turning them into something new is never getting old. Big production houses are announcing sequels, reboots, and spin-offs every other day, yet only a few of them can bring back that charm of the good old days. Yes, some of them are absolutely nostalgic, while some are so bad that they just wreck our childhood memories forever. The movie sequel I'm going to talk about in today's video is standing right at the threshold of becoming either a gem or a total disaster, and predicting its future right now would still be jumping the gun. Beverly Hills is a 1989 comedy classic directed by Jeff Kanew and produced by TriStar Pictures. Starring Shelley Long in the lead, Troop Beverly Hills tried to take a shot at the box office but crashed pretty badly. Honestly, back then it was a tough deal to survive the competition among those 80s classic comedies, and Beverly Hills wasn't well equipped for that battle. But now, after decades have passed, I'm here to remind you that a brand new sequel is officially on its way. So who's really bringing this 80s nostalgia back on screen? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into in today's video. So without further ado, let's get started.
It is only dangerous when you don't know what you're doing.
The long journey to a sequel. It was 1989 when Troop Beverly Hills hit the theater, but it didn't light the box office on fire. Rather, after a few years of being buried and forgotten, people finally gave it the recognition of a cult comedy. And a lot of that credit goes to cable TV for playing the movie as a weekend refresher, and the old VHS copies turning it into a must-watch for sleepover nights. And then, eventually, the streaming platforms made it even more accessible to us. But the thing is, why would we need a sequel to this movie that wasn't even a hit in its own time? Well, the 80s definitely saw some feminist stories back then, but the number was a lot less than what we see now. Even many of these stories with a female protagonist were written by men, and only those stories were taken seriously. Troop Beverly Hills was unique in that equation, because rather than justifying its femininity, the film was embracing it all, like fashion, motherhood, female solidarity, and everything that still matters today. And now, after decades have passed, we're much more open to female-led stories than we were in the 80s, which makes me think that a film like Troop Beverly Hills can be reinterpreted through a modern perspective. The very first attempt to revive this classic began in 2020, when TriStar officially announced a sequel and the creative team who'd be working on it. As a director, they chose Oren Zegman and Aisha Carr, who wrote the initial script, although later the scripts went through multiple rewrites, like Tamara Cheston, who was one of the writers who later joined the team to rethink the narrative. The woman behind the concept of Troop Beverly Hills, Ava Ostern-Fries, whose real-life journey inspired the script, was also attached to the project as an executive producer, alongside her husband Charles W. Fries. However, there was no mention of an official cast, not even any talk of the old cast returning for the sequel, so everybody assumed this would bring a new lineup and a new storyline altogether. Still, before any clear-cut answer could arrive, the buzz around the sequel vanished all of a sudden, and that silence persisted for all these years until April 2026, when new reports suddenly saw the project emerging once again, but now with a completely different creative team and a major Hollywood name attached. Turns out, Cameron Diaz is bringing it back on screen, co-producing the sequel along with TriStar. Now, nobody really knows exactly why the 2020 version got shelved, but we can assume that those multiple changes in scripts and a lack of clear direction didn't help the situation. Now, after 6 years, the producers and creative heads finally found a voice that they believed would work out this time. So let's take a quick look at the production team. Inside the new Troop Beverly Hills movie team. So who's actually steering this fun little bus ride? Well, as we know, TriStar Pictures, which operates under the umbrella of Sony Pictures Entertainment, is funding the project. As of now, the biggest piece of the board is Cameron Diaz, who's not just acting, but producing too, especially during her comeback era. Yes, Cameron took a decade-long hiatus between films, and finally returned years later with Jamie Foxx in Back to Action, and the Apple TV Plus film Outcome, alongside co-stars Jonah Hill and Keanu Reeves. Now, I think out of all the names that could have come to your mind for the possible cast of Beverly Hills, Cameron Diaz sounds pretty iconic. Her career in movies has given us all sorts of chaotic and energetic characters, whether it's Bad Teacher, There's Something About Mary, or Charlie's Angels. She has this amazing quality to balance between comedy and putting herself in an emotionally vulnerable state. If the creative heads go for that energy in the sequel, I think Diaz will easily carry that out. In the meantime, she's not alone in the production team, as her longtime business partner Catherine Power is also co-producing the movie. And then came Lawrence Mark, the man behind crowd-pleasing works like The Greatest Showman and Dreamgirls. Mark is well known for producing romantic musicals and comedies, where you get the emotional sincerity in a great deal, something that the 1989 classic also relied on. Then, lastly, we have to talk about the main creative lead, the one who's helming the project, actor and director Clea Duvall. I think Clea Duvall can be one of the best choices for a director, because if you look at her filmography as a maker, she has made some amazing dramedies over the years, like Happy a Season and The Intervention, where you get family drama, a strong feminist voice, and most importantly, relationship dynamics within the characters. I don't know, but maybe this sequel can also dwell on the relationship drama, and Duvall can bring her expertise on that. What we actually know about the new story. So the first thing that you guys should know about this project is that it's not a straight-up remake of the original movie. It's a sequel, so we'll probably see the aftermath of everything that happened in the original one. But till now, nobody's really talking about recasting Phyllis Neffler. So is it really going to be about her at all? Or maybe this sequel will be an entirely new chapter for the Wilderness Girl gang. Cameron Diaz can play anyone at this point. She can be one of those Beverly Hills moms, or she can be a former Wilderness Girl. There are many possibilities, but none have been confirmed yet. However, what we do know is that what happened in the original film, and taking a quick revisit might stir up your memories a little. So the 1989 True Beverly Hills revolved around a Beverly Hills housewife, Phyllis Neffler, who was going through a divorce, and meanwhile her relationship with her daughter was also falling apart. So to reconnect with her, Phyllis joined her daughter's team of Wilderness Girl Scouts. Although it was a playful decision at the start, later it grew into something really meaningful for both her and her daughter's lives. Their rival group of girls, led by Velda Plinder, mocked them for being the typical Beverly Hills girls, but that encouraged them to prove themselves in the final big jamboree competition. Now, since this is a sequel, I don't think the story will follow the same beats all over again, but surely some Easter eggs and references will be there. Reddit people are already anticipating big returns, especially from Carla Gugino, Jenny Lewis, and of course, Shelley Long. As of now, the rest of the details are still a mystery that will later unfold as more and more set reports and information will be on their way. So when could this movie actually come out? Well, there's no confirmed release date yet, because Cameron's involvement in this project was announced just a month ago. So yeah, you can call it just a beginning. The project is currently in its development phase, which means the cameras may not have even started rolling yet. Actually, the development phase can mean many things. Being stuck in production, figuring out the budget, or still making creative changes that have been a pretty common and recurring issue with this project. And finally, the nightmare of matching actor schedules. So you can't really expect a release window before mid to late 2027 or early 2028. Maybe the trailer or teaser launch can happen earlier, but once again, no confirmation yet. By the end of this year, if there's an official announcement that the cameras are rolling, it'll be easier to estimate a release window for next year. Also, speaking of Diaz, her schedule seems to be pretty packed. After a decade-long gap, she's already made her back-to-back appearances through movies, so it's no wonder she's finding it hard to juggle between her projects. However, the most important thing to remember is the producer's priorities. If the studios make this sequel their top priority, things might escalate first, or else it'll be stuck in limbo longer than we expect. And that's it, guys. If you want a trip down memory lane right now, go to Amazon Prime, where you can stream the original 1989 movie. However, in many countries or regions, the film might not yet be available. So for the ones who are up for it, have a great time with Girl Scout cookies, and let's hope the sequel finally kicks off production this year or sooner. On that note, this video is over. If you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Also let us know in the comments about your favorite Troop Beverly Hills moments. Goodbye, and see you in the next one.
Smokey the Bear says only you can prevent forest fires.
Smokey the Bear isn't going through a terribly messy divorce.